Hey, unstuckers, Josh here, as joined every week by my co-host Cel. Say what's up, Cel.
What's up, Cel?
Welcome to Casual Fridays, where we have a moment to look at our own businesses. We take a mini mastermind, we problem solve, we set goals, and we keep the ball rolling. This week on the podcast, we talked about budgeting for solopreneurs and micro businesses on Wednesday. So if you're a fan of spreadsheets, go check that out. And if you're not a fan of spreadsheets, you should more importantly check that out. So if you missed that episode, just go back. It was on Wednesday. All right. But this week we're here for, or this day, I guess we're here for Casual Fridays. Chell, let's check in on goals. We check in on goals every week. If you didn't do what you said you would do, I donate $50 of your money to the National Riffle Association. Do I get to donate your money this week?
No, I can better allocate that money than donating to them. So no.
So no. So you did
No.
what you said you'd do.
Yeah, mapped out sales process. Check. Brainstormed a new product for
Ooh.
toddlers. Check.
Ooh.
Pitched my quiz on Clubhouse. Check.
Ooh.
Renewed my Florida business or my Florida dietitian license.
Ooh. Big check.
Check. And then I sent a blog to a mommy blog. Check.
Look at you go.
What about you, Josh?
Well, my goals were also met. I did the next mixing section portion of my online course about music production. Learned a whole lot about EQ, so that was fun.
Does that mean equalizing? Equalizers?
Equalizer, yeah.
Ah, cool.
And I did the morning push 4 out of 5 days, specifically 4 out of 5 days, exactly like I said I would, because I think Tuesday night, my sleep was absolute shit. I woke up at like 9 and had to go to the office. There was no morning routine of any sort done that day.
Isn't it crazy how much sleep can fuck with you?
Yes.
Or lack of sleep?
Lack of sleep. To make up for it, I think I slept 10 hours last night, which I never do. I am not a sleep to forever kind of guy. So that was weird. And I feel great. And I was doing a test on the cloud backup system on both my computers, which is so far annoying. So, but at least the test is done.
At least you're real.
That's where I am. All right, so let's have now that we know we're not donating money to the American Nazi Party or the National Riffle Association, let's have our 10-minute check-in, starting with you, Chell. Once I get a timer, hold your horses. Calm down, Chell. You're always ready to jump the gun with your bouncy. And okay, go.
Cool. Okay, so with the Florida dietitian license thing, I bit off way more than I could chew there. So I thought like all the emails were just like, oh, like you should renew your license, not that you need 28 hours of continuing education.
That's a lot in 1 week, and you had to do it.
So I had like maybe 10 hours done from 2019 and 30 minutes done from 2020. So I still had 18 hours to do. Yeah, it was rough. I'm not going to lie. That was the majority of my weekend last weekend, but I got it done because I didn't want to donate money on top of having to spend money on these courses. So, hey.
There you go.
Yeah. So, note to self, if you have a license for a state, check on that shit prior to when you need to renew it. Like months out. Do it several months out. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went for a run this morning and then I meditated out in the open, which was a little scary because I felt like I was going to get mugged with my eyes closed, just like meditating out in the middle of like the city. But it was good because I live in Germany, so it's fine. Guns don't exist here. But I brainstormed out what I think I want in my mini course for toddlers. So if I can find that, notes for course, there we go. So I'm going to run through this on a like a Facebook group, like a mommy Facebook group, and maybe just ask like singular questions and like hone in on if this is really what's needed, because I think that that's really important prior to me spending more time on making a course that may not sell. Hey. But basically I'm going to touch on like picky eating and mindfulness that can benefit not only the child, but like the family as well. And then I'm going to give them meals that can come together in 10 minutes or less that are kid friendly. I think that that's super important. So like on nights when the kid doesn't want to eat fish, for example, like mom can throw together a healthy version of mac and cheese that can come together super fucking quick, rather than like opening up a shitty boxed mac and cheese and like giving that to the kid. Like, so there's actually like veggies and nutrition behind it. So that's kind of the premise for the course, but I still need to like beta test and just like get some questions out there and make sure that that's really what people need. That being said, I've had some not success this week. I'm not going to call it failures. I'm going to call it not success.
Learning opportunities, if you will.
Yes, yeah. So I had a meeting, or like I chatted like with one of my like mom friends on Instagram. We're besties now, not like besties, but like we're more than colleagues, you know? And she's like, hey girl, like I just posted this in like a bunch of different like mommy, like lawyer mom groups on Facebook. And like, I got 50 responses. And the question was something along the lines of like, if you could solve, or if you could have someone solve your biggest problem, what would it be? And like all 50 responses were basically cooking and cleaning. So I know that there's a market for what I do, but I think I was targeting / maybe still am targeting the wrong person. So after speaking to my business coach last night, and I typically do that after this call, but I really needed some insight, and I power napped before that call, so it was prime. And we had an awesome like brainstorm sesh. There's only 3 of us on the call, so it was really like tight knit. And basically what it broke down to was busy moms are not my target audience. Professional moms who are still working away from the home are my target audience, because these women really don't have time, and they really only have 30 minutes. So like if they can have the essentials on hand and be focused on that, like for that 30 minutes, and get it done, get it out, they also probably have the time to prioritize getting their family into this like new sustainable lifestyle, more so than like the busy mom at home who has like a million kids running around. So I'm shifting, and I'm moving to Instagram, like staying on Instagram and moving to LinkedIn. Potentially, I haven't decided yet if paying for LinkedIn Premium is worth it, but I'm gonna hang out on LinkedIn, use 1 to 3 hashtags, because that's what I found in my research is ideal. Did you know that you can go live on LinkedIn? I didn't realize that it was like such a modern social platform. I just thought like,
I honestly did not realize LinkedIn was had updated it all in the last 10 years. So
yeah. So like you can do like mini trainings on Instagram. You can do like carousel posts, like similar to like Instagram stories, like pop in an MP4. You can like use hashtags. You can tag people who are like in your niche. Yeah. So I'm actually really excited to explore that platform. I think it's going to be, I don't know, but I think it might be better than just kind of like throwing shit to the wind in fucking Facebook groups where a million people respond to different things. I don't know if it's like that in your niche, but like in these mom groups, like someone asks a question and like a million people respond. Or so that mom like posted that question in like her lawyer groups, and I was like, let's give it a shot. So I made a super cute little like Canva graphic and like posted it in 6 mom groups. Nothing. 0. Nada. No responses at all.
What was the question?
It was the same thing. Like if you could have someone solve like your biggest problem, what would it be? And I got 0 responses in the groups that I posted it in.
Did the other person use a graphic?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really interesting, and that really solidified that I'm barking up the wrong tree on Instagram, or on Facebook at least. So that was eye-opening and kind of led me down this path to reassess. So it was that was really interesting. But I think I'm going to talk about the less pretty parts about this week. So that lack of success or that not success was fine. But I know we always say like break it down and like that's how you can stay motivated. But truthfully, like it's been really fucking hard, guys. Like it's been hard to stay motivated, and I want to be real about it. Like it's not easy. Like I cried today. I haven't cried in like 2 weeks, which is good, but like it's really hard to stay motivated. So finding something like outside of work to do and focus on where you can like achieve success, I think is really important in helping to balance out like the constant, I don't want to call them failures, they're learning opportunities, but like the constant not successes. So take that how you will, but I think that that's a really important lesson that I've learned this week. So like running a 5K is something I know I can do, and like a little check on my box, to be completely honest. So like that's something that I try and incorporate a couple of times a week just to feel like I'm making it and like doing something. So whether you are trying to just launch your business or you're in it for a while and you may be hitting a slump and you're not feeling like you're progressing, try finding those little check marks or like check boxes that you can check in other areas of your life. I think that that's really important to maintaining your mental sanity, and just being refreshed when you do come back to work. Yeah, that's been the week, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I hear that.
But I think I got really good information from my business coach and the other lady who was on the call last night. Like, I think just changing some of the verbiage. So I'd love to know what you think about this. So she was saying like retarget to a new customer, but like maybe asking, are you the breadwinner? And I can do this either in like Facebook groups or maybe in like different verbiage on Instagram and LinkedIn, but like finding out if the mom is the breadwinner, right? Like if lawyer moms are the breadwinner, maybe the husband's a lawyer as well, but like if not, we already know that like she's making bank and she doesn't have a ton of time. So I feel like that's really cool. And then the other question that I thought was really unique that one of the women phrased was, are you a planner but can't seem to get your plan together in the kitchen? I like that, right? Okay.
Need a
And then I
plan
think
for the
the
kitchen?
big, the what?
Need a plan for the kitchen?
You need a plan for the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think just kind of rephrasing, refocusing, and going in this kind of renewed this week is going to be really important. Because I mean, there are slumps, and like being an entrepreneur is a roller coaster, you know, especially if every month isn't consistent like you. But I feel like this is a really good juxtaposition, like talking about your business because you've had it in the same location for what, almost 6 years now? Yeah. Versus a business that has had to move several times, and like there's still growing pains and like ebb and flows with moving, whereas having like a business in one location you can like allow to grow and blossom. So I think hearing our stories, and listeners, you tell me this, I'm just kind of inferring, but like I feel like hearing our stories and the juxtaposition of it, because I started my business 5 years ago, and it's not to say that it wasn't profitable in the past, because it was, and like, which was awesome, but it's so different like being in this like constant ebb and flow, and like there's like really high highs and then really low lows. So it's interesting to see the two sides of the coin in like entrepreneurship. Like not every day is going to be awesome. So again, I'm off my little soapbox there, but I feel like that's just like that's what's coming through this week. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but the other thing too is you have moved successfully multiple times.
Yeah.
With this move, you completely reinvented your business. Like the
Yeah.
same knowledge that you have, but you're using it in a very, very different way. So it's not, if you didn't move and you switched your business to this online course model, it would be the same struggles. It would be like figuring out a whole new business plan.
Yeah.
So I think you have be kind to yourself about, and it's not just moving, but it's also changing the business. So there's a lot on your plate that's that's
I
shifting
appreciate
all the
that.
time.
Yeah.
Um,
And
moving
it
alone
is a
would
good
be really, really
reminder.
hard.
Yeah. And it's a good reminder to like see it from an outside perspective because I'm just so in it. And
Yeah.
I've said it a couple of times this week, but like the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and then expecting different results. But
Right.
like, I feel like I've done so much stuff over the last couple of months and expected different results every time. But like, was I really doing the same thing? Am I like really just stuck? Am I stuck in a rut?
Are you stuck?
God, mind fuck. Okay. Anyway,
Even the host of Unstuck Institute gets stuck sometimes. But
so
I think what I'm hearing, you're doing the right things. Like you, to me anyway, you have tried all the things at Instagram, for instance, and the only thing you haven't tried is doing the same thing over and over again for years on
yeah,
Instagram. You know, the longevity part of the game. Um, but who's to say whether that works or not when you've tried everything else and had next to no results for it, in terms of course sales anyway. You've had engagement, you've had more followers, but have that doesn't necessarily turn into money. So I think you're doing the right thing by exploring who is your audience and where is your audience. So if they're on LinkedIn, I think that's, you're going to try the same game plan basically on a new audience and a new platform, and that
yeah,
I think that'll give you a lot of insight because you'll either have no response there and then you'll be like, ah, I was closer over here. You'll have something to compare it to, or you'll get more response here and you'll be like, ah, I have something to compare it to. This is better. I'm spending more time over here on LinkedIn. You know?
definitely. And I know as like entrepreneurs, we're really about metrics, but I haven't even had metrics to compare other than like Instagram insights because like every time I get a new follow, I like welcome them. But I would say maybe 5% of people respond with OMG, hey, like thank you so much for the welcome. And like I ask a question in that like voice message, but
Mm-hmm.
very infrequently is there a response. So like there aren't even metrics that I can compare at that point. And like even my response rate when I do DM someone asking them a question is super low unless I've had a very good connection with them already. And like I don't know if that's inherent of social media as a whole and like reaching out to moms in particular because they get bombarded, or if it's just me like not connecting. There's so many variables. So yeah, it was just good insight, but I wish I had like more solidified metrics. And I also feel like I've been talking for a while. Has 10 minutes elapsed?
Oh yeah, we're at like 15 minutes now, but
Jesus Christ, I didn't hear that go off. I'm so sorry.
no worries.
Okay, cool. I have one question then. So as a freebie idea, is this attractive to you? 15 items that should be in your Instacart and Instacart order and how to let's try that again. 15 items that should be in your Instacart order and how to use them. Hey, would you download that? Would you give me your email address for that?
I would not, and here's why. Now, I think there's people who would, but here's another perspective to think about. I barely, even as a tech guy, I barely know what Instacart is.
Okay, that's fair.
So if I saw that, I'd be like, oh, right, is that that thing that I don't use? Okay, cool. So I'd move
Okay,
on
so maybe like
personally.
grocery list
So
versus
maybe,
Instacart.
and I think it might be worth doing an A/B test on that. Like, do exactly what you
Ooh.
said, but do one where it's just like things that need to be on your grocery list and see which performs better.
Yeah.
Because maybe I'm the oddball, right? Or maybe you're the oddball, but
Yeah.
you'll find out, and then you just whatever works better. It's just like doing Instagram and LinkedIn. You're going to be able to compare and be like, this is better. I'm spending more time here, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Cool, cool.
But I
And then
think
one
the idea
more.
behind it, I would definitely download.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
then
how you phrased it that checked me out. So
that's fair. That's fair. And then want to know how to use canned, fill in the canned veggie here, 10 to 20 different ways. I haven't picked a number, but I want to do it anywhere between like 10 and 20 different ways. Like
Mhm.
canned tomatoes, 15 ways, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool,
I
cool,
like
cool.
that. I also will tell you from working with you in the past when you told me like frozen veggies or canned whatever, um, can can be utilized, can be delicious, and can be nutritious.
Mm-hmm.
All of those really sold me like when I was working with you because my novice mind on it was like, frozen veggies aren't as good, So I either want to be healthy and spend a lot of time cutting veggies, or I want to be unhealthy but have some time with frozen veggies. And you were like, the trade off's not that much, you know.
Yeah.
So I think putting some of that in your language, at least for this type of person, really would sell
Yeah.
me on that. Like, not only, hey, this is actually going to be quicker, but here's 20 reasons to or ways to use it and make it delicious, you know.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Josh. I really appreciate
You're
it. Thanks for letting
welcome.
me go over. I'm so sorry I vented so long, guys. Whew.
It's okay. You needed it. It's fine.
Thanks. Thanks.
Some days be like that, you know.
I know. I know. All right. You want 10 minutes on the clock?
Sure, let's do it.
Go.
Okay. All right. So I finished a website with a client that I was going to start doing SEO on, and probably do the monthly thing for 3 months over the summer, see how it goes before I start pimping that out as a thing I do. So that went
The
really well.
verbiage.
That went really well. And um, now I'm going back to all the Upwork people and going, hey, the website's been redesigned and now we can talk. Um, and it has been interesting because I put a job post in like 2, 3 weeks ago, and I've got maybe 20 responses, um, all over the place. Some people with horrible
Yeah.
English, some people with like perfect English, some people who are like, here's my proposal, here's everything I can do for you.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Here's what I've done before, examples, like they're a business, they do this right?
Yeah.
Through via the Upwork platform, but they do it. And some people are like, hey, I've been doing it for a couple of years, so I could help. And that's their proposal. So just all over the place. It's very interesting. But since I don't know much about SEO and I've been learning as I've been going, I'll tell you one little thing that's been interesting about using Upwork for gigs is I've been learning a lot about what to ask people based on their
Hmm.
initial proposal. For
Yeah.
instance, so now I'm like in it. So now I'm like, I want to hire somebody by Monday if I can, to start working on this website. Um, so now I'm like, okay, what what have I liked about some proposals, right? Just because somebody didn't like bombard me with it first doesn't mean they don't do it, right? So I'm gonna ask. So it's been a great way to find out what my interview questions are.
Yeah.
So like some people are like, I provide weekly or monthly reports on where your website's currently ranking from month to month to month,
Ooh.
at all these different sites or all these different keywords, right? And I was like, oh, that's sweet, because then I can just send that to the client and go, look, we're doing stuff. It's working, right?
It's tangible. Yeah.
Tangible. And so I was like, oh, that's a must. I didn't even think about it, but like now that's a must. So I went to everyone else and went like, what do you do as far as reporting? And they would tell me. And some of them were like, yeah, I'll tell you things. And some of them were like, oh, I have this form. And then people were like, I have this form. I was like, cool. Can you send me an example of what your reports look like? And then so bam, so I've got like I do, I've got a spreadsheet because I was like having too many chat conversations with people. So I just made a spreadsheet of the person or the business's name, and like, do they seem to be talking in or communicating in good English, because it's kind of required if they're going to do any sort of content SEO writing kind of stuff.
Totally.
Do they do content writing? Do they do reports? Stuff like this is just like check off, check off, check off, and that way I can be like, uh, you know, some of the 20 people or so that have proposals out to me, will just, nope, they don't do that, or they don't have a good enough grasp of English, and
Yeah.
they're out. So that's been fun, but a learning experience on being like hiring kind of and interviewing and being like, I don't even know what to ask,
Yeah.
and just listening to proposals. I'm like, oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. So I think
Have
I'm
you
down
had
to like,
have you had interviews?
not yet.
Okay.
But on the Upwork, I mean, we've just been chatting, but on the
Okay.
Upwork site, um, the there's a messaging, chatting thing, and there's also video chatting. So some of them
Cool.
like proposed me with like, let's hop on a video call, and I was like, cool. So I think I'm down to like 3 or 4.
That's
Um,
good.
and that meet the initial metrics, and I'm just going to try and hop on a video call with them and make sure like they sound legit, cuz if they can't communicate with me pretty directly on a video chat, then I know they're going to be wasting a lot of time really working on the translating versus actually understanding English, right? And like, hey, no judgment. I don't speak any other languages. Just this is what the job requires, you know? So I need to
Totally.
make sure that they can speak English for the English speaking websites. And so that's been a whole thing. And hopefully next week I'll have somebody working on that for a client. And what else happened? We mentioned budgeting this week on the
Yeah.
podcast. And so while all my quarterly numbers aren't really there to totally change my budget, I do know that this was a kick ass quarter for JVIT Tech. Heck yeah.
Insert round of applause.
Round of applause. Round of applause. Um, so what I was able to do on the podcast on Wednesday, I was talking about how you want to pay yourself a base level salary as an entrepreneur, and that you can make it with, and then give yourself bonuses on top of that.
Yeah.
I was able to increase my base level salary um,
Hey.
going forward, and just a little bit, but enough that suddenly my personal budget is a lot more comfortable,
Hey.
just like a
Fuck yeah,
couple
dude.
$100 a month makes it go from like to like, yeah, I could eat out, sure, let's go to lunch like when the world opens up or whatever.
Look how
So
fancy you are.
I know. So I mean, I can't do that every day, but I could do that a few times a month now. So so that's cool. I was really excited about that. And because not all the numbers are in, I don't really know exactly where I stand, but I could tell that like giving myself an extra couple $100 a month of wiggle room was something JBit could handle easily, and then we'll see how the rest of the numbers pan out. So I was like, sweet.
Sick.
Um, so that's fantastic. That means all these numbers I've been tracking since December when I like checked back into my business was like
Yeah.
um it's gone from like last November, December, where I was like, I have no money. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't make enough. Maybe I'll find an IT job. To, oh, wait. If I actually like show up, go to work, do the thing, this thing I've been building is working. So now it's reflected in my paycheck to myself.
Fuck yeah.
What? Which makes just there'd be a lot less anxiety over the paycheck thing, which is great. Um, and I was vaccinated 2 weeks ago, which makes me fully vaccinated now. That has
So
nothing to
come
do
to
with
fucking
business.
Germany, dude. That's the moral of that story.
I know. As soon as they open the borders on a
I
plane.
feel you. I feel you.
Um, yeah, so that has nothing to do with business, but I am excited about that. I mean, it has to do with business because I still go to people's houses, and I'm less concerned about contracting the virus or bringing it home to my parents or any of those things. So,
Totally.
so it's all good stuff. Um, but yeah, that's where I am. And then
EQ.
music,
Yeah.
EQ. EQ was a lot of fun. Now I'm on to compression. Um, and I'm realizing that though I've spent many hours in this online course, there are many more to go. I don't think I'm even halfway through.
Holy shit.
And so I uh obviously the whole of like the polishing, mixing, all that kind of stuff at the end, mastering, um, is a huge section. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, I've done, I don't know, 2/3, 3/4 of the course. I just never got around to the last quarter. Now I'm like, oh, and there's just like so many, like there's hidden things. Like I was in a module today that was like the basics of compression. And for more on this, I gave you a bonus course. Bonus course. So click this button below. So I click the button below, and then there's like 15 more modules that weren't in my like overview in this course, that I was
Oh
like,
my
oh, I'm like this
god.
far through. And he did that to me last week too on something else. And I was just like, like it's great. There's so much value there. As a consumer, I'm ecstatic, but as somebody just trying to get this shit done, I'm like, man, it's a lot. So, um, but it's good. I'm gonna keep doubling down on that because it's making me very excited to write more and produce more songs, which is of course the ultimate goal. So if this is motivating me to feel like I can do it myself, then
Hell yeah.
grand. And speaking of writing more songs, I decided to do a new thing this week. You know how I always have a new shiny thing to do?
Oh my God.
I decided to start hosting a songwriting group for New Mexicans from my licensing company, 505 Songworks. So every
Cool.
Saturday now, I'm going to be on Zoom. This is two reasons to do this. One, sweet. Here's the timer. Okay, just to wrap this thought up. One, there's accountability partner. Like what
Mm-hmm.
I want to do is I'm going to have this group where I have like little challenges that we can do. Like, hey, here's this kind of starting point of write a song like this, or here's a painting, write a song about this painting. Like whatever, just like little like inspiring kickoff points. Um, and every week people can choose to do that or not, but I'm going to as much as I can.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
which means every week I'm going to write a new song. So,
That's a way to
um,
keep a fire lit under your ass, bro.
uh-huh. Yeah, and I got this idea because we did this with artists through my nonprofit last summer. All artists, we did like a making art challenge when we all shut down and we were all isolated, um, where all sorts of art was being made. Like, here's a prompt, go make art, come back and show it off next week, right? And I was just hosting that. I wasn't even planning on really participating, but then I ended up getting inspired. I was like, I want to write a song about that, so I did, and ended up participating. And I was like, oh, I need to do that again. And I've had plenty of songwriters who are like, I love it if there was like a songwriting group, and whatnot that
Yeah.
here in New Mexico. And I'm keeping it in New Mexico because I want to meet in person eventually.
Yeah, totally.
So, but anyone's welcome for now. It's gonna hopefully be off of Zoom eventually. Um, but the yeah, so there's that, and then there's also building the community. Like, let's see what songwriters are out there, and if they're just constantly showing off their stuff, and I'm like, and they show off something, eventually it's like, maybe in 1 week they don't produce something that's high quality, but eventually they're like, hey, I wrapped around back to that song we did a month ago, and here's the finished version I wanted to share. And if I go, ooh, that's licensable, then I can just sign it, and that's like a pipeline for the business.
Yeah. Oh, I
Um,
love it.
so it's keeping me accountable and doing stuff I want to do anyway, and building a community which can help the licensing business, which is just exporting New Mexico's music to Hollywood. So, bam, I decided to do a whole new thing.
I mean, dude, it fills into like it funnels into what you're doing already. So
Yeah.
yes, it's another thing, but it's not like a whole new venture. It's not
Yeah.
like you're starting an ice cream business or a pie business, as you always like to talk about.
Yes. I do love my pie businesses. Yeah, it'll keep me accountable in writing songs and grow the business. And all I'm really doing is sacrificing an hour and a half on Saturdays for this. So it's not that much more of a time commitment. The time commitment is that I'm going to be more motivated to write songs, and
Yeah.
that will take longer. But I want to do that anyway. So
Yeah. There you go.
there you
Sweet.
go. All right. With that, goals? What are your goals this week, Cel?
I do have goals. Hashtag goals. Okay, so numero uno, LinkedIn outreach. I just need to develop a plan of action
Mm.
because I have a solidified plan for like my Instagram strategy. So I just need a LinkedIn strategy. I need to hash out my product ideas and make some revisions on my save time cooking. I need a more inventive name. It doesn't get the nerves going. I'm trying to think of a clever way to say that, but it doesn't, I don't know. It's not very inspiring. So I need a more inspirational name for that. And then I also need to kind of hash out some new products and ideas. Potentially doing like a 2-week meal plan launch into, hey, like you can purchase this course. Maybe that's a freebie, maybe it's not, and then kind of hashing out that toddler idea a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then just partaking in some more target customer research, and that's going to involve me being on a variety of different social platforms, asking a ton of questions. So most likely on Instagram, and if I can find a Facebook group that's pretty responsive, just asking some questions in both of those platforms via stories and in just like group posts. So not a laundry list, but a lot of shit. Yeah.
There's some bigger things to do there, like,
Yeah.
the LinkedIn plan. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
So good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And you?
Me, let's see. So, what are my goals? I think my goals. One thing I didn't mention is that I started yesterday. I'm gonna. This is my goal for this week. Is I have been, so as part of my morning push to do something before I leave, so at least one thing gets done. One of
Yeah.
those things has consistently been like at least spend like half an hour a day on the online course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've mostly also been coming home to get lunch, just to like leave the office, and I could bring my lunch, but like I got to get out of there and clear my head,
Yeah.
Um, what I had been doing is like coming home and watching a mindless 20-minute TV show like The Simpsons or Scrubs or something. Um, and what I thought was like, oh, right, remember that whole lunch and learn thing we dealt with? And so yesterday, I did half an hour of the course in the morning and half an hour of the course while I was eating lunch. So I
Nice.
doubled my efforts in the course by doing that. So I want to do that as much as I can this week. I haven't looked ahead to any lunchtime conflicts, but let's say, here, I'm going to look ahead right now. Hold on. Just hold the phone.
My physical phone? My
Yep,
grandpa would
hold
always
it.
say hold the
Hold it.
wire, but phones don't have wires anymore.
Okay, I have one lunchtime conflict. So I'm going to do 4 out of 5 again of having lunch and learns on top of my morning push. So
Cool.
um, hopefully that'll make a huge dent in the course. And then I I'm gonna do my best. I don't know. This is hard goal because I don't know how responsive people will be. Help me make this goal. I want this SEO thing to be running. Um, so what I need to do is I need to at least schedule interviews. I guess
Schedule interviews is probably feasible.
schedule interviews. And if all of those interviews happen before we record next week, I will hire somebody. But that's an if because I don't know if I have control over that part.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
um,
I think the scheduling interviews though is valid.
yeah, so schedule interviews, and I think that's it. I was going to say something about reviewing financials, but I have to wait for my bookkeeper on that, and that might not be ready next week. So yeah,
Cool,
those are
cool.
the big things. And then run the songwriting group for the first time. I've already got like 3 or 4 people that have signed up for it, 3 of which I don't know. So
Nice.
that's
Who
cool.
run the world? Josh. Who
That's
run the
right.
world? Josh.
Me. All right. Anything else, Chell, before we skedaddle?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, all the baseball fans out there, happy beginning of the baseball season. Go Dodgers again. uh, Opening day was yesterday, Chell. Get with it.
Of course it was. Yesterday was also April Fool's, so are you fucking with me or what?
Who knows? Who's to say? Baseball's not real. All right, that's a wrap on Casual Friday. If you have any questions for us at Casual Friday, just email us at unstuck.institute@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram at unstuck.institute. And if you haven't already, download our free PDF life book to keep the ball rolling on your own productivity. Get your life book today at unstuck.institute/lifebook. Also, we'll be on Clubhouse this morning if you're listening to this early enough, and every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. So follow us on Clubhouse to join in on the room and the brainstorm sessions that are going on there with people like you and definitely people like us. And we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Be excellent to each other. Bye.
Have a good weekend. Bye.